Arfield, 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield, he's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Robbie Blake! Burnley's first goal in the Premier League is something very, very special.
Wade Elliott has that change of pace and he's got away from Montgomery. It's the path of McCann and the follow-up finds the net. What a strike from Wade Elliott! A bolt from the claret and blue.
Oh goodness me! What a goal from Patterson! If that is to be the one that takes them to Wembley, you cannot argue with that. Pure quality.
Here goes Mike Conroy. Still time for a winner, maybe. John Francis! They came to York in their thousands. They're going home as champions.
I mean, if there's any justice in the world, Burnley would surely score from this corner. Swung right in there. Ball in there. Yeah! Michael Cannon! Oh, that's justice! That is justice at the Amex Stadium. Burnley are level and deserve to be.
Hello everyone and welcome along to the latest episode of the Turfcast podcast, full-time show with me, Joe Redmond, after a historic day yesterday at the Turf. Brilliant to finally, get a decent win against them. Every time we beat them, it tends to be, by the one goal or something like that. But, we really put them to the sword yesterday. We absolutely demolished them, and it was fantastic to be able to do that. I wanted a couple more, if I'm honest with you. I wanted revenge for that 5-0 all the way back in the year 2000 because, I do, being a 12-year-old at the time, I still remember that quite well. But, it was good. It was good to batter them. Really, really enjoyed it. Get your comments in. Let me know your thoughts on the game. I've got a couple of lads waiting to come in. I'll be bringing them in just a couple of minutes to discuss the game. But, yes, let's get your comments in. Mark says, week off, so I'm up to watch while still celebrating a fab win. Dork says, bastards got clattered. Well, Kaminsky did, didn't he? He got clattered into his own net. And Inky Punk says, up the effing Clarets, undisputed kings of Lancashire. Yes, Lancashire is definitely claret and blue. And not just East Lancashire, is it? It's Lancashire. Lancashire is claret and blue. But yeah, just my thoughts on the game before I bring the lads in. It were pretty much the perfect performance, wasn't it? I don't know what we were all worried about. And I say that as somebody who was probably, one of the most worried people out there. I saw someone in the pub yesterday who watches and listens to these, so he will hear this after the match. He's like, you're quite pessimistic, aren't you? And I don't think I am. I was just nervous for that game. You just don't want to lose. Just kept having premonitions of them going mad at away end and stuff. Thankfully, they were just premonitions that didn't come true because, yeah, like I said, I had no idea what we were worried about because they were dreadful. And it's pretty much a crime against football that they are in second or third, whatever it is now, in the league because they were so bad. They offered absolutely nothing. They sat back and tried to hit us on the counter, obviously using Berriton Diaz. But Vitinho played very well against Diaz. Never let him inside. There were a couple of times when Diaz did get inside a little bit or tried to get inside. But Vitinho just stood off him and made him go on the outside rather because he likes to cut inside as Diaz. He scored a goal against West Ham, then he cut inside and pelting it in the top corner. That's like his signature move. But Vitinho played very well. And there was a lot of stuff about the fullbacks in the build-up to the game because obviously they were I'm going to say so poor against Sheffield United. And let's be fair, they were pretty poor against Sheffield United, but they got bullied against Sheffield United. But it weren't just the fullbacks, it was the entire back line and the goalkeeper. But everybody to a man, everybody was fantastic. Muric, from what little he had to do, he did very well. The centre-backs played very well. The fullbacks were both brilliant. Vitinho, probably the better of the two. That's just because I'm nitpicking, really. Cork and Cullen, both fantastic. Brownhill, fantastic. Obviously, the wingers were great. Teller were great when he came on. And Barnes, look, I've always defended him to a sense of I don't like the stick that he gets, but I admit he's probably, a little bit past it, or I've said that a couple of times, but it proved yesterday that, maybe there are some games that, he can still he can still do the job. And obviously, were fantastic yesterday. He got the 2 goals. Could have easily had an hat-trick. Kaminsky made the save in the build-up to Zarori's goal. Barnes scored something similar, didn't he, the other week? But he was offside after Teller's flick on. So, yeah, fantastic win. Absolutely fantastic win. Footballer Lucas says, I thought we'd breeze past them. In the end, you were right, mate. In the end, you were right. So I predicted 3-1 on the pre-game show, didn't I? And someone said to me, it was my dad actually. He went, "Oh, that's a bit ambitious, that, isn't it? I think if we win, it's going to be 1-0, maybe something like that, similar to the other ones that we've had. But in the end, it were even better than that, weren't it?" Reliant Robin TV says, immense atmosphere. Also really happy for Barnes. I wonder if he gets a run of form and becomes a target man for those games, that he'll have more physicality. Yeah, I think without the Sheffield United game, he might have gone with Teller up front, but I think the Sheffield United game, maybe Barnes was brought on to sort of help with height as well and some aggression, because we needed that against Sheffield United, which we didn't have. But fantastic yesterday, really, really was. David Goldie says, I did say pre-match on Twitter that we had nothing to worry about. They were playing away against a top team who haven't lost at home. Yeah, fair enough. And he also goes on to say, shame Sky didn't have pitch-side microphones, the atmosphere. Well, they did have pitch-side microphones. I don't know if you heard it, but somebody shouted, fucking get up, you fucking soft bastard, and then just turned them all off. So that did make it sound like it was. The atmosphere wasn't as good as what it was, but it was very, very good. Simon Ed says, could have been 5 or 6 yesterday. Barnes was reborn. Criticised him this season, but he was outstanding yesterday, and it was the perfect game for him. Tony says, do not forget when we played Sheffield United was a midday match. We had played 100 minutes on Wednesday night. Yeah, true. Conlon says, didn't see a single empty seat. No. You wouldn't be one, would there, to be fair? Tom Wormsley says, love Barnes shoving their keeper into net after he's such a shit house today, but this is why we absolutely love him. And Luke Wormsley says, what result? So happy for Barnes to getting 2 against that lot. I definitely I definitely feared the worst when I laid eyes on the team sheet and saw that Barnes was starting, but how wrong was I? Yeah, same. I was a little bit, I knew Jay wasn't making it. I'd been told that Jay wasn't making it, but I was hoping that it'd go with something like Zarori, JBG, and Teller up front on his own. But yeah, so when I did see Barnes, I was a little bit surprised. But yeah, how wrong was I as well? Anyway, it's time to bring the lads in. I'm going to bring them both in now. Just give them a warning, because sometimes I do that and bring them in and then they aren't ready. So Connor's there. How you doing, Connor? You all right, mate?
Yeah, brilliant, mate. You?
Yeah, looking well better after yesterday. And of course, a man that needs no introduction is Liam Wannington, or otherwise known as Vizza. How you doing, mate?
Hungover and happy.
Yes, thankfully I've recovered a bit now. You obviously hit it probably a little bit harder than me. I'm all right, but I couldn't sleep at all last night. I had a kebab repeated on me. I'd had far too many beers. But yeah, I was pretty hungover this morning. But yeah, Liam, we'll start with you. Thoughts on the game then?
What was that about, eh? I cannot believe how on earth how are they third? How have they got more wins than us?
They were so bad.
It's actually a disgrace to every single other team in the league that they've allowed us to happen, genuinely. Yeah. But that's all I can say about Blackburn. Every single lad out there the other day, absolutely sensational. And I want to say this, I am so happy for Ashley Barnes. Every single one of us, we've all had a bit of stick at him, saying that he's probably past it now. Some have gone more deep into him than others. I've just kind of said that he probably just doesn't suit the system that we try to play anymore. And yesterday, I don't care what happens. He may score own goals for all I care. He's that's it for him now. If it was an audio coattail for others, I mean, it's now done now. Absolutely buzzing for him.
Yeah, definitely. Mark Howard says, Teller showing the defender the score was just as funny as Barnes, keeper push. Yeah, I didn't see that at the time, but the guy next to me, he was like, started laughing his head off. I'm like, what? Teller, we're just doing that and then doing the 3-0 sign to think it was Hyam, weren't it? Good defender Hyam, to be fair, but that was funny. But yeah, Connor, your thoughts on the game? Then obviously I bet you're as delighted as me and Liam.
Yeah, just echo what you both already said. Absolute perfect performance. I don't know what everyone was worried about. I was cacking it for like the full week.
I was so nervous.
But honestly, we just toyed with them. Absolutely toyed with them. And to be fair, I know that most bastard fans are absolutely fuming with how cowardly of a performance they put on, and you can't blame them. It was, they had absolutely nothing about them whatsoever.
One shot.
Yeah,
absolutely. One shot.
Yeah,
Crawley Town had more than that.
Crawley Town scored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely terrible. I don't know how they're as high as they are in the table. It's a false position. On that performance yesterday, there's absolutely zero chance they're going to be anywhere near the top 2. And I'll be surprised if they even get playoffs.
I've seen the lads from the Second Tier podcast saying that today, that they'll be surprised if they get playoffs. I saw, is it Ryan Merton, the Burnley fan on Twitter, saying he'll be surprised if they get top 10. I mean, and Mark Higson, he says what I said yesterday on Twitter, the worst team at the Turf this season. And we're not just saying that because it's Rovers. They genuinely were the worst team at the Turf this season. I'll give them a little bit of credit. Obviously, you can't really sort of like judge their entire season on that one game. But if they've played their season that way, or they're going to carry on playing the season that way, then there's no chance they'll get the top 6. I agree with you. But it's one of the, they do seem like they're a bit of a different beast at home. I guess we'll find that out in March. But from what I saw yesterday, I'm not worried at all about that game at all. I think they were dreadful. But obviously, we've mentioned how bad Rovers were, but obviously we had the highest expected goals, whatever it's called, in the Championship all season, all week, sorry. And Rovers had the lowest. So that just goes to show how dominant we were as well, weren't it, Liam? We were just fantastic at the front, in the middle, and at the back as well.
The only annoying thing that I have from yesterday is that it should have been 5. That should have been the game that we get revenge for the 5-0 back in 2000, that we completely turn them over. That's the only annoying thing, because it could have been 5. Teller had great chances. Should have been a penalty in the first half. Decent save as well, straight after that as well by the goalkeeper. It should have been more. That's the only thing that I'm slightly annoyed about, because we could have gone 6 or 7, because they were there for the taking. They, honest to God, I don't think they got into our third of the pitch more than 5 times in the entire length of the game, and only once in the first half. It was sensational. All the lads, and maybe it's a bit annoying that there's now the World Cup break, because, I mean, it's a good thing in theory, because we have played a lot of games, and then that means that I'm going to hold onto wood here. I've got an entire shelving unit. We may see Scotty Twine eventually. I mean, he's got a whole month now almost to whatever he's got. That get fixed. And then there's Westwood and Trilanov. Oh, our depth is sensational. I cannot wait for it.
Yeah, Sam, I've noticed you're in the room. I'll bring you in just a second, mate. But Connor as well, just to add to what Liam said there, we've still got Scott Twine to come in. We've still got Cherlinoff to come back. We've still got Westy to come back into the side. Yes, I agree. The World Cup break could end up being a bit of a hindrance. I've seen Arteta saying that about Arsenal as well. We're in the exact same position, obviously top of the league. Do you think the World Cup's going to be a bit of a sort of like a hindrance, sort of like stop the progress, or do you think it's going to help us get some of the depth, like Liam says?
Yeah, I think it's going to help us get the depth back. And to be honest, I'm not too worried about it, because the way that we've seen the team sort of kick on over the last few games, now I'm quite confident that they can just pick back up where they've left off. And it obviously gives us that month just to be able to sort of enjoy that win. I think it's there's nothing to worry about with it, really, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards that now. I think we're just going to get better. Just quick shout out as well. Simon's in the chat. He says, Joe, shout out to Luke Nuttall from Australia to watch the match. He's a big fan of Turfcast, so shout out, Luke.
Simon,
as I said,
fade in town. The best fade I've ever had by Simon.
Did you see how good Kaminsky's fade was yesterday? And that's because Simon did it the day before. But there you go. Sam, how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you boys? You all right?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. I'll just quickly get your thoughts on the game. Then obviously we've heard from Liam, we've heard from Connor. What did you think of the match yesterday? I'm sure you enjoyed it just as much as us.
Oh, we're the best football team in the world. Honestly,
in the world.
Honestly, they had nothing. All I heard on the build-up from them this week was Brereton Diaz is going to turn us over. He's going to be unbelievable. He's going to have hundreds of shots on target. He's going to turn Burnley over. He was the worst player on the pitch. He was shocking. He had one shot. We marked him out the game. We literally dominated him start to finish. We had all the ball. We had all the shots. They had nothing. We made them look like clowns, and I love it. We deserve it.
Did you hear a stat, by the way, about Diaz?
Go on.
No.
Guess how many accurate completed passes he made yesterday?
2.
7.
I thought you were taking the piss with the 2 shot, but you weren't far off there.
19 touches on ball, 5 ground duels, and he lost every single one of them. Incredible.
One of those 19 touches was a handball as well.
Yeah, and that Gallagher lad, he had 4 accurate passes.
Yeah, like they literally they showed nothing. Like all they wanted to do was exactly like I felt the same. I was nervous coming into the game. You know, the league position does make you a little bit worried. You think maybe they're scraping results out there, but Brereton Diaz is the reason why they're in the position that they are. Because teams at the bottom of the league, he will score goals against. He is clearly a good striker, but that just is more of a testament to us. We defended brilliantly. Everybody did the job well. Everybody played the way that we used to seeing them play. And honestly, it was so good to watch. I wasn't worried once for 90 minutes.
No, yeah, with the first half, we were brilliant, but without really creating much. And I wasn't worried at half time. I've been thinking, I hope it's not one of them games where they just sit back and, like a Stoke, for example, or a Luton earlier in the season, or a Hull. So I was a little bit worried. But second half, we were so good. But Connor, I'll come to you. Like, why do you think Blackburn looks so poor? Because I don't want to twist a knife on them too much. I mean, I do a little bit. But why? Yeah. Why do you think they were so poor? Is it JDT got it wrong tactically? We were just so good for them that they couldn't handle us. What do you think it was?
Well, it's obviously a bit of both, wasn't it? They didn't really show any bravery at all. They didn't want to really come on to us, and we were just far too good. That first half could have scored a couple of goals there quite easily, and then second half, that's as a complete performance as I've ever seen us play. It was unbelievable. For it to come at that time of the season in that game is just perfect.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I think the fullbacks did very, very well. There were a lot of build-up about Martson and Vitinho. A lot of people saying, I play Charlie Taylor and Roberts and stuff like that. And, I kind of half agreed with dropping maybe Martson and putting Taylor in there. But at the same time, I was like, well, Taylor hasn't played in the left-back in this system yet, so I wasn't really sure. But they both played brilliantly, didn't they, Liam? They were both fantastic, especially Vitinho. Like the amount of times, I don't know if anybody's watched it back as much as I have. I think I've watched the 10-minute highlights 3 times already. And the 2-minute ones. Yeah, there you go. So it's every single time, if you watch Diaz, when he's running at Vitinho just showing him on the outside. So they've obviously done the homework. They've obviously knew how to handle him.
Oh, yes, because if you want to beat Blackburn, it's pretty easy homework. Just make sure that you mark out Diaz. They've got nothing else other than that. Yeah. The things with Blackburn is that they just had such a different contrast in terms of how they want to play, and it made no sense because in the midfield they basically tried to just hoof it long and just get to the D as fast as possible, but then they also just try to pass out from the back as well because they knew that our midfield of Cork and Cullen and Brown, it's by far the best midfield in the league. Sheffield United, they may come close as well, and maybe on their day, maybe quite even. No one else comes close to our midfield, and the fact that we've got Westwood and Bassin, who's going to be second behind that. It's just absolutely disgraceful. Our B team, our second rotation team, can be top 6 in this league. It is disastrous how poor this division is. Honest to God, I can't believe it. But yeah, Vitinho, Matson, seen as more attacking players. They could put a shift in as well. Matson, I thought it was great as well. Every single player. If I would have picked probably one man of the match, because they were all great, I'd probably say I really loved Cullen's game yesterday. Yeah. He got stuck in. He dictated as we always know he can, and he was absolutely everywhere. But everyone was amazing. But I loved Cullen's game yesterday.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with that. I think if I were going to give it anybody, I'd probably give it Barnes, just for the fact that he got the 2 big goals. But I think the best player on the pitch probably was Cullen. Them two, Cullen and Court, were just fantastic, and they protected the defence brilliantly. Seeing as Liam's mentioned that, and I'll give one. Connor, I'll come to you. Who's your man of the match? And get your man of the matches in the comments as well, by the way. But Connor, who's your man of the match?
Yeah, Barnes. I just think he's just perfectly built for that game. Yeah. Absolute massive shithouse. Like, I can't stop watching him launching the keeper into the net. I've been watching on repeat all day. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
Only
I don't know if he meant to do it or not. Did he mean to do it?
Oh, 100%. He makes a beeline for him and shoves him.
I personally think it's one of them where he's headed it, and obviously the momentum's took him into Kaminski. Then he just thought, fuck off, I'm pushing him in. I think that's more of it rather than doing it. But only he could do it, and only he could all make us laugh that much. But Sam, your man of the match.
I agree with Liam. I think Cullen was an unsung hero in that because of the goal, where the goals came from and how they came about. But he's stuck into everything. I don't think he lost a tackle the entire first half. The second half, he was zipping the ball around. Like he just made a beeline for every ball, and it was that player in that game that you just so lucky to have, because you could see it in the way they were playing. Like, they were playing the long ball over the top. They didn't even want to go into the midfield, because when they did try it, it just cleaned them out. Like, he just cleaned it up. So I think he was brilliant, and he deserves all the praise for the performance.
Yeah, fair enough. It was fantastic. I thought both of them were fantastic, to be fair. Like I said, Cork and Cullen. Obviously, it's Barnes for Andrew Blythe. JT Conlon says, Barnsley is so intense with a teammate. He keeps the squad present. Simon Ed said, I have to give them on to Cullen. And Icky Punk, just talking about the Barnsley moment, says, keeper bundled into the net is a classic Derby Day moment that will be talked about forever. Lads, I think we're all a sort of similar age. Probably Liam and Sam, maybe the younger of the two. But it's easily in all of our lifetimes the best Derby Day win that we've had against them. Like I said earlier, it's all been like 1-0, 2-1 sort of thing, and a lot of 1-1s, and before that, just getting dicked off them pretty much every time we played them. Where does that stand in your favourite Derby Day moments then? Like, obviously, Barnes' goal and stuff. Sam, I'll start with you first. Because I don't know, it's difficult, isn't it? That Danny Ings goal, to win them, to beat them for the first time at Ewan and to come from 2-1 down is always going to be up there. The Arfield one as well, because it was such a brilliant goal. But the Barnsley header yesterday, it was so that, like, the relief when we got that goal, and that then obviously Blackburn had to try and come at us a little bit more as well. Then we ended up just putting him to the sword and stuff. But I don't know where to rank it yesterday for me. I think it's probably my favourite Derby Day game, obviously. But the actual physical Derby Day moment, the best moment for me is probably the Ings goal. But that Barnsley goal yesterday is right up there for me. But Sam, what's yours?
I mean, I just thought, you know, I've said it many a times, but one of my main things is I've been really critical when we were in the Premier League with how the turf's been. It did feel like a place that you just turned up to watch the football, but you had a natter with people and you weren't really there for the football. Whereas yesterday it was absolutely bouncing. Like, I have never felt the turf like that before. Everybody was together. Everybody wanted us to win. And the manner of, it's not just beating Blackburn, like, because all I wanted was the 3 points against them anyway. But after the game, I just took so much pride to support Burnley, because we absolutely fucking battered them. Like, they had nothing. They couldn't do a thing. We just
beat that one out.
But every single area of the pitch, it was unbelievable. I don't think we will ever in our lifetime see Burnley demolish them. Not just 3 goals, but not touching the ball, never affecting the game, never looking like they were going to score. And for 90 minutes, you just weren't worried at all, not even slightly.
Yeah, fair enough. Liam, where does it rate for you?
I mean, for the day, it was absolutely fantastic. It was just, as the game, the experience, the amount of, I must say, creative insults that I heard across the entire game was amazing. I honestly, I can't even say it on this, because I don't know if you can swear. I don't know, but it'll get banned somehow. Okay, it was amazing. The amount of things he was saying to Diaz, the Wino, the mascot. I don't care. Anyone was able to get it yesterday. It was incredible. In terms of moments, I mean, I wasn't there for the Ings goal at Ewood. Sadly, my brother used my season ticket for his mate, which I will forever, because apparently he thought it was too scary for me. Apparently I was too young. I still hate him to this day for that. But I was there for the Arfield one. And I feel like it's, even though at home it's amazing, everyone's bouncing, to do it away at their gaff is going to be, it's even better. So I still say Arfield's goal, just because it's us against them, it's us in their territory. But I mean, it just was a whole different ball game yesterday when it comes to how it almost felt like we actually are going to win the league. Like, yesterday it felt like this is it. Like, we're going to, same as 15-16, go down, do double in them lots yet again, win the league and piss off. And that's going to happen all over again. Because
and hopefully don't come back for another 6 years.
Them lot, they'll probably be at 9th or 8th. They'll probably like still hope for playoffs, and then by February, as always, or March, they're just going to go down, back to their usual roots, because their team is dog. It's got a ton of young players. They may have some sort of fight in there. They've not got the experience other than Ayala, really, and even Isa Belen for being at Middlesbrough as well. I was happy that they came off him for the 3rd goal. But yeah, all around, literally, Arthur for me is still top, but as an entire game experience, we were just having a party. You got Teller doing the 3-0. You got him. You see his like little. He hit his back. He like did a 360 backwards no look pass with it like for the third goal. Do you know the cheek that you must have to do that? It's actually beyond like disgraceful that he even pulled that one off. But the boys are confident. We're winning the league, doing double. We're going to piss off them again.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Like I said, they are a different beast at home, but from what I saw yesterday, they won't offer us any danger at Ewood. Connor, I know you need to shoot off in a couple of minutes, so feel free to dive off whenever you can. But where does that rate? Obviously, as Liam says, everything about the day was perfect. We were taking the piss. We were taking the piss out of the players, taking the piss out of the fans, taking the piss out of it. Everything was just perfect about the day. You've got Teller doing flicks, Teller dancing in front of the thing. You got Barnsley scoring 2. You got Barnsley pushing the keeper into net. Everything was just perfect. But where's it ranked for you amongst Derby Day memories?
I'd say there's sort of 2 different ways you can look at it. So for moments, Danny Ings, with obviously 30 odd years not beating them, coming from behind and obviously being away, huge. But I think this is the first time that we can truly sit back and just be smug for a little bit, which is nice just because we absolutely smashed them and there's no other way of saying it. They were absolutely terrible and we were absolutely unreal. So I'd say the overall day, the actual match, it's as good as I've seen us play, especially against them. But for moments, it'd have to be Danny Ings.
Yeah, I'm 34 now, and that's only the second time I've actually seen them win at Turf Moor against Blackburn. So, that just shows that how bad the record has been for the majority of our lives. But obviously now the tide is definitely swung the other way. Like I watched the Sky highlights earlier, and the commentator said, this is how the East Lancashire Derby goes these days. Blackburn turn up, but then that's all they do. Burnley run riot. And that's just exactly how it's been for the last 12 years. I know there are a few draws in there at the start of that, but we just seem to dominate them every single time. But yesterday was the actual demolition. It was just superb. Everything about it was perfect. Liam, you mentioned there as well. It's looking like you're going to win the league now and stuff. Like we're going to win the league. Sorry. Obviously, I've seen the thing that you shared a few weeks back about the prediction thing, the percentage of who's going to win the league and who's going to go down and all that stuff. I think they refresh it every week, and today it was something like 47% that Burnley will win the league. At this stage of the season, that is insane that we are 47%. I do think I can't see us not finishing the top 2. I know that sounds smug and a bit arrogant, but I just from what I've seen so far this season,
be arrogant.
Yeah, exactly. From what I've seen so far this season, there's no reason why we shouldn't be. But do you think now it is just we are finishing top 2 and probably will go on to win the league, or do you think there's going to be a bit of a fight and it may even be a drop in form and Watford could come up and offer some issues towards us, or do you think we'll be all right?
I think we all know for a fact of the matter that it's between us and Sheffield United. It's as simple as that. Norwich, they're inconsistent. Watford, they're inconsistent. Everyone's inconsistent. And it's just between us and Sheffield United now. It's as simple as that. We've got the quality. We've got depth, which I think no one else actually has real depth other than us and Sheffield United. They've got a bit more physicality, a bit more experience, I would say, but we've definitely got more quality as well. Yesterday felt like almost like a massive statement. We're going to look back and say, that's when we knew. That's when we knew. In the same way that when we beat Bastards in our Arfield goal and then our Andre Gray goal, we beat them then. We knew that we're going to go up. And then when we beat them for the Danny Ings goal, we knew then we're going to go up. It feels the exact same. And I can see a comment about Nathan Teller in the chat saying that, I don't want to get too, connected to him. And I don't know why, but I checked my Twitter last night. It was like, I did a tweet, like they're saying Anasorori for the chant. And I saw Teller like a tweet. I was like, wait, that doesn't pop up unless if he follows me back. And then I checked, like, holy shit, Nathan Teller follows me back on Twitter. I was like, what? I don't know when this happened. It wasn't yesterday. So I DM'd him saying, like, cheers for follow, have a good night, up the Clarets, you're different class. And he said, my guy, love heart, see you soon, UTC. He's a Claret boy, so he's staying.
Staying. I mean, that obviously I didn't know that, but that adds to it. But everything he was doing yesterday just shows that he likes it here. The 3-0, the crying to Hyam, the dancing in front of the away fans, the woo that he does now. He did it away at Sunderland. I've clipped it up and put it on Turfcast where he goes woo. He was doing that coming off yesterday as well. But the guy loves it here, doesn't he? I mean, I would be devastated if he left, and I try to not get attached to loan players, but he is brilliant. And Reliant Robin, who did put the comment up that you've just responded to there, says Kinnell, that's ace. And Burnley Till I Die says, I've heard he loves it at Burnley. I think it's obvious he does. But Connor as well, I'll just ask you the same question I asked Liam about winning the league. Do you think are you pretty confident that we're going to be top 2 now, or confident that we're going to win the league?
Yeah, I'm confident at top 2. I think we're more than capable of winning the league. It just depends, like what kind of, if we throw any more performances like we did against Sheffield United. I mean, they're far and away at least the second best team in the league. Yeah. So yeah, we could quite easily win it. It's just a straight shootout between us and Sheffield United.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see anyone else. Maybe Watford, because they've now won 3 in a row. But like Liam says, they are too inconsistent, and they'll probably have another dip in form as well. And Norwich, unless they're sacked Dean Smith, I can't see them doing very well. If I'm honest, Sam, are you confident winning the league? I can't see us not finishing in the top 2. My only worry is maybe Sheffield United might pip us to the league, but I'd take that right now. From being honest with you, I'd still be happy with that. But yeah, Sam, your thoughts?
Do you know what? Like, You said you don't want to be arrogant, and the thing is, like, we have never in our lifetime of being a Burnley fan ever been able to be arrogant, ever, because we've always overachieved. But we've always overachieved. We've always been classed as overachievers. We've been the underdog story a million billion times. Like, this is the season where we can just say, do you know what? It's our time to be the team that everybody wants to beat, because everybody wants to beat us.
Even when we won the league, same thing. We were still seen as like underdogs and like performing above us.
I wanted the season before when we went up. Weren't we like relegation candidates? Like Sky betted as like odds-on favourite to go down.
23rd, I think. Yeah, like to go down.
Nobody wants to give us a fighting chance ever. This is the first time where I can hold my head up high and say, do you know what? I'm a Burnley fan, and I couldn't care less what anybody says. Like, I mean, I've never cared really, but I mean, like, in this situation, I can be like, we play amazing football. We've got amazing players. We've got a fantastic manager. The fan base is behind everybody. The club feels together, and I love it. Couldn't care less what anybody says. We're good.
Do you know how long it's been since someone asked me, how do you watch that every week? It's been so long. I got asked that every single week. We've all did for like 9 years. That's beautiful now.
It's unbelievable. Honestly, it really is.
Yeah, and let's talk about Vincent Kompany, because like, what a job that this man has done. Like, some people, mainly fans of other clubs, to be honest, I was quite happy that we brought him in. I thought he was going to do well. I think he's proven that he's going to he's doing well, and then potentially going to do well, and should be in the Premier League next season, barring a massive capitulation. But Connor, I'll start with you. Like, obviously, to go from like a completely different style of football, like the Sean Dyche style of football, Sean Dyche ball, which is obviously very direct, a bit one-dimensional, but it worked for so long apart from last year, so not really criticising the style of play. But to go from that to then change it completely with 12 outgoings and 16 incomings and something like that the guy deserves loads of credit, doesn't he? That's done an absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be possible, like, as quickly as he's done it. I mean, I was quite happy just to have a season of consolidation and just get the team playing the way that Vincent Kompany wanted, and then maybe next year we could go into a promotion push. There was absolutely no chance I could see this happening. So yeah, he's done an absolutely brilliant job so far. Perfect man for it.
Yeah, obviously he's identified some real talent in the likes of Rory and Benson. I think obviously that the scouting system and the board deserve a lot of credit for that as well. But Sam, obviously, I know you're a big fan of Kompany as well, as you all, Liam, as we all are. But your thoughts on the job he's done so far has been absolutely fantastic, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been insane. Like the tactics. I mean, I haven't been on for a few weeks, but we were talking about it ages ago. Even back when we were saying it wasn't totally clicking. Since then, I think it's clicked immensely. And I think my main thing is if you know football and you know his style of play, he likes to play where you skip a section of the team, so you can have a goalkeeper that can play to your fullback, which means it doesn't have to go to your centre half, and he just skips different areas, and we double up in certain positions. And the style of football that he plays is immense. But I said from the start when we brought him in, and I don't want to say it in like a way that like he's bigger than the club, but like in the footballing world, he is seen as, he's idolized by so many people. He's like, if anybody ever asks who's one of the best captains in the world, you think of Vincent Kompany, one of the greatest Belgians ever, one of the greatest centre-backs in the Premier League. He has a high status in football, and he's brought that to us because everybody is now giving us the same high praise that a manager like him deserves. and we look brilliant. And he's done such an immense job. He's brought in great players, the scouting system. I mean, if we were to get into the Premier League now and we have more money in the bank, this regime will be so exciting to see.
I mean, we were linked to lives, my friend.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Like, I mean, we were linked with Cabral from Sporting Lisbon. We're in the Championship. He played at Lazio the season before. Like, if we're in the Premier League, who on earth are we going to get? It's so exciting to think of. But yeah, he's been brilliant, and I absolutely love him.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. And Liam, I'm sure you'll obviously echo them sentiments as well. And it'd be good to just build on what you were saying there, Sam, as well. Like what we could achieve with this board and this manager who are identifying some real talent, when we have a bigger pool and a better pool of players to be able to dip into, because we're a Premier League football club who obviously players want to play in the Premier League and then we'll be able to offer higher wages again. So yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? Like what we could do if we don't, when we go back up.
I mean, we were saying about not being arrogant, but we're already here planning ahead of when we get promoted, You know what I mean? I mean, so kind of break it down into two parts here. So when we make it to January transfer window, realistically, I don't think anything needs to change other than I would hope, and we all know about him, I would love to see Vegos come back because we all know that kind of backup for J-Rod would be needed. And Barnes, even though we hate to say it because of yesterday, but I just think that it'd be important because of the Burnley fans and the way that he left, that they would accept him back if he comes in January and helps us win the league. And he will look at the table, he looks at how we're playing and thinking, I want to be part of that if we go up. And if he takes us up, then people will accept him. If he comes back in May and July, then people will be like, we've already done the job without you. And I don't think the fans would really accept him. And then going on to, let's say, if we go up, when we go up, titled champions, everything. This is not going to be an arse, is it? No, it won't. The players that we were already linked to, Seka Fofana from RC Lon, last year Mislav Orsic. I mean, if he came over, I still think we'd be in Premier League in the first place anyway. And so many random lads in like France and Germany and Italy and all around the world, even in the Championship. I just want to remind you guys this one thing, right? Because we've got these players now, Benson, Zaruri, all these players that's come to us because of Vincent Kompany alone. When we came 7th in the Premier League, even though we came 7th and had Europe, people still didn't want to be part of our club because of the way that we play, because of Sean Dash, whatever. He came 7th and was into Europe, and we signed Ben Gibson for a record-breaking fee still, by the way, Mate Vidra, Joe Hart, Peter Crouch on a free transfer, and Nyaki Wells. And I think he actually left on loan actually that time round. So that's it. And I mean, that was when we came 7th. When we go up, it'd be absolutely fantastic for all involved, and it would be the best of our lives.
Yeah, I'm still surprised. Every time someone reels out the signings that were made that summer to us, I'm still surprised. Ben Gibson at the time I thought was going to be a good signing. Obviously turned out to be quite wrong. But the signings that we made that summer, and that's essentially why we did go down again. We just weren't being backed. Just quickly shout out to Luke Nuttall in the chat. Obviously, I know Sam has already put a comment in earlier, but he's the lad that flew over from Australia. So hope you had a good time in England, mate. And sorry about England winning the Cricket World Cup in your country, but hopefully you can get back to Australia and safe flight and safe journey home. Yeah, I want to talk as well about. So I know we've mentioned Ashley Barnes as well a little bit, but he was so good yesterday, weren't he? Like a lot of us, we've mentioned him a little bit already, but a lot of us were a little bit sort of apprehensive about him starting. I know I was, but a lot of people have sort of I don't want to say a lot of people have been proven wrong, because it's humble pie. It's not sort of a great thing to do, but and to be honest, I was one of them, so I'm not going to dig myself out. But yeah, he was fantastic, weren't he, yesterday, Sam? It was so good. He's played in games away at Sunderland. The first half there, he was pretty poor. But you just think the game was meant for him because he's a big game player and he likes big occasions. Do you just think that's what it was, or do you just think he's always had the quality there? He's just probably, a little bit past it or that sort of thing. But yesterday, he just rose to the occasion, didn't
he? We were walking to the ground and my dad gets his phone up and he goes, "Oh, check the lineup." He goes, yep. Barnes up front. And I turned to him and I said,
I did the same thing.
you could not, yeah, but I literally said to him, you could not be more wrong because of the Sheffield United game. We were turned over because we were soft. We didn't have the physicality of somebody like Barnes. We didn't have somebody who was just willing to throw the body around. I thought Barnes, on the back of that performance in the game of the magnitude that it felt like this had, he was perfect. And I'd said it from the get-go. I didn't think he'd have the impact in front of goal that he did. But unbelievable performance. I've always liked Barnes. I don't think this season he does suit our style of play in certain games because he throws himself about too much. And we like to play football a lot more now. But in that game, he was perfect. And I called it. I'm going to give myself props. I said he'd be good. So there you go. Move on to somebody else. I said it had happened.
I'll be honest with you. I did the same thing as what your dad did. I seen the team sheet. I went, boy, because I thought it was going to be Teller up front through the middle. And so I had mentally prepared for that. And I was like, oh, Barnes, no. God's sake. And I was in the fan zone and a few people turned to me like, oh, is he starting? Is he starting? I'm like, yeah. And a few, for God's sake, we're not going to score today then, are we? But obviously a lot of people are eating humble pie then as well. And obviously, Connor, I know you're still here, mate. I thought you were going at half past.
I am going to have to shoot in a set, mate.
Yeah, all right then. I'll come to you then, so you can answer this and then go. But yeah, it was fantastic, weren't it, yesterday, Barnes? And it's great to see that. But that's the Barnes we all know and love. You know, being a shithouse, being a battering ram, you know, doing daft things like pushing keepers into the net and obviously getting the two. And that third goal, by the way, great composure from him to get the ball on the edge of the box, take a touch, and then a decent finish. All right, I think it hits high him on the way, you know, one of the defenders, but still the composure he had was fantastic. He was brilliant yesterday, weren't he?
Oh yeah, he was superb. It was the Barnesy of old, and yeah, I was the same when I saw that he was starting. Like, I'm not going to say I was disappointed because I do love Barnes, but I didn't see that performance coming from him, and he was just clinical. Just every chance he had, he just took it perfectly well, didn't he? Yeah, he was absolutely superb, and I said it before. I just think the type of player that Barnes is, he's just absolutely perfect for that kind of game. You need someone with a bit of needle who's going to get it into him. And he just stayed on the right side of the line yesterday, where he could have possibly had a couple of bookings, but he didn't push it too far. It was just a perfect performance from him.
Yeah, he's such a shithouse. I love him pushing the keeper into the net. That's like someone said earlier. That's one of them legendary moments that we'll still be showing pictures of his kids to in about 10, 15 years. Well, Liam, what were your thoughts when you saw him on the team sheet? Were you like me and Sam's dad? Were you a little bit disappointed, or were you more like Sam, who is a fountain of all knowledge and wanted him there? What were your thoughts?
Well, I think it's on my vlog. I think, but like I was in a big window watching the final. When the team sheet came out on the Burnley Twitter account, and I remember that it was my brother's mate. He had his phone. It was like I had no signal, and like literally, I remember that there was like 15 of us gathered around his one phone, and when we all saw Barnes, we literally all went at the same time, like Barnes, and literally everyone because we all think the same thing because he doesn't fit this system. But then literally, pretty much we all thought within like a minute, thinking actually, this is a kind of game that you would actually rather have him in because he will basically just get in their face. He will get into them. He'll get stuck in. And he's going to put 100% on that shirt, 110%. And in the first half, Barnes, I swear, everything was just falling to him. Like, all the kind of crosses that came in the box, it was him on it. It just felt like it was going to be his day. And I'm just, again, as I said earlier, I'm just so happy that he's got that because no matter if he scores own goals now to the end of the year, he's got that moment. He's got that iconic, legendary status for the club. Even though he may have already had that anyway, now it's tenfold now. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah. It's. I think he already did have it. I was just a little bit worried that maybe that being here a little bit too long was sort of like denting his legacy. But obviously yesterday that showed that I was wrong about that, and it was fantastic. Like, we still talk about the Scott Arfield goal, still talk about the Ings goal. You know, we still talk about the 2-0 win at their place. So this is going to be one of them things in 10, 15 years. We're still watching clips of it. So he's definitely written his name into folklore a little bit more. But obviously you mentioned Weghorst earlier, Liam. I'll start with you on this one. January is just around the corner. You know, whether Weghorst comes back or not, that's a different debate. But we could even be strengthening again. I believe we could be going back in for O'Hare. Somebody said that to me on Saturday. I don't know how legit that is. I'm not going to pretend to be RTK or anything on that one, but someone did mention that we are thinking of going back in for O'Hare because Coventry do need the money. But we could be. We mentioned earlier we've got all these players to come back in: Twine, Cherlinov, Wester. and then we could even strengthen yet as well. Like I've got people texting me names sometimes again. Some like half the time I don't know who they are, to be honest. It's like I didn't know who Rory and Benson were like this time 6 months ago. But we could be strengthening still yet, so we could get even better, couldn't we?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, guys. I'm gonna have to shoot. All right.
Yeah, no worries,
No,
mate.
no
Enjoy the darts.
Yeah,
Enjoy the
cheers,
darts.
pal. See you later.
See you, mate.
Right.
See ya. In terms of like where we can really, I just look at where we may be a little bit weak in terms of our depth, and I think maybe a centre back. However, I don't really want a centre back to really get in front of either, Howard Bellis or Bayer or even Taylor. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not even really. It's just depth behind the depth at this stage. Like, that's why I think that it's just. I can so easily say that we're going to be top 2 at least because we've got insane depth. And in terms of strikers, I mean, you cannot, of course, it's J-Rod and Barnes, and I guess Taylor can play there. I don't really know where we really need to improve. Our midfield is immense. Our wingers are immense. We've got backups in terms of the fullbacks. Keeper's fine, I think. Pickakawa isn't that bad. He's shown that already. I don't even know if it's even necessary. Ideally, if Taylor gets recalled, then we'll replace him if needed, if Southampton does go on and do that. And I would say to inquire about the potential bringing back of Wout Weghorst, because we did our part of the bargain. As he said in his interview, he left to go and make sure he played top-level football to be in the World Cup squad. He's in the World Cup squad. We did our side of the bargain. He's done his side of the bargain. Okay, he may see where we are on the table. If he wants to be accepted by the fans, and I'm happy either way personally, because I kind of still get it as a professional why you would want to do what you want to do. But I think that it'll be really beneficial, especially if you do go up. He can hit the ground running. He can already know the system for next season, because I think that he's still a great player.
Yeah, no, definitely. I thought I was a little bit disappointed with him towards the end of last season, but pretty much most of the players towards the end of last season weren't great. But I think Weghorst will come in and do quite well in this league. And definitely in this system, even if we're in the Premier League. My only worry is sometimes that his attitude won't be great. And obviously coming in with somebody, it seems like they've really close-knit squad again at the minute, which they were last season, to be fair. My only worry is someone coming in with a different sort of attitude might not necessarily fit in too much. But I think it's definitely worth the risk, because up front, I think that's probably our lightest area. Because once Jay gets an injury, all right, I sound a bit hypocritical after Barnes' performance yesterday. Now we've just all been singing his waxing lyrical about him. But when Jay's got an injury, we are pretty much down to the bare bones. We're playing like wingers up front, like say Teller can play there, but he is naturally more of a winger sort of player. So I'd like another striker, definitely. And I see what you're saying about centre-back as well. I think they're the two areas that we do need strengthening, mainly for depth more than anything. But Sam, what are your thoughts on the transfer market and any potential signings? And of course, Weghorst as well, as Liam's made the point there. Would you have him back?
Yeah, you have time, don't you? Like when he's gone out on loan, you have time to kind of process the whole thing. And that whole situation, I was really disappointed with him at the start. And then, like Liam said, like eventually you have to start looking at it from his perspective, which is okay. If I do stay at Burnley, I might not get into the World Cup squad, and then my anger turned more towards somebody like Louis van Gaal, because what kind of manager do you have to be to turn around to somebody and say, you can't play for my national team and you won't make my squad if you're playing for Burnley in the Championship? There is plenty of that almost shat on the Championship, because the Championship is a tough league, and I know the Dutch national team it will be a tough team to get into. But
yeah,
we've still just been in the Premier League, and he signed for £13 million, and in the Premier League he didn't perform very well. So if he came down with us and he was at, 10, 11, 12, 13 goals now, and you've got every other Dutch striker in. I mean, for example, Vincent Janssen's made the team. He's playing in Mexico. Like, what on earth? Like, you can't say one rule for one and none for another, and no one's going to tell me that the Mexican league is harder than the Championship. There's no way anyone will ever tell me that. So I think there is something in Louis van Gaal's approach to it that was poor, in my opinion, but I would definitely take him back. And the thing that we do forget in centre-back is we bought Luke McNally, who is constantly learning with all these players. And he was a good player in League One last season. He might not be ready, and Kompany might have seen that, but he's still a name that can eventually get his way in. Tarkowski did it. He sat there waiting for his chance. Came on at centre midfield against Chelsea, and that didn't work. But then, then he got his chance at centre back, and then he was probably been one of our best centre backs that's ever been at the club. But I could see how, going for another centre back, maybe obviously with it is a guarantee that Howard Bellis will not be a Burnley player next season. There's no way that we'll sign. I can't see. Well, okay, there's not no way, but I genuinely can't see it. The City could look at him and say he's a very good option. Other Premier League clubs could be sniffing around him. Teams like, even like the Newcastles that could, throw 35 million quid at him, and then he's obviously going to go to Newcastle, into because we're not going to match that kind of bid. But I would say probably if I could pick a position, it would be to bring in a centre back to fill that void should he not sign permanently. Yeah,
I'm here with Bellis. I think if we go up, I think we'll be in with a chance of signing him. I think if we don't go up, then I think we'll struggle. I believe he's very highly thought of at City, but I think they probably will just sign somebody for 50 million quid if they needed a central defender rather than play with Bellis. But Liam, your thoughts on that? Do you think because I know you sort of like said when he said that. So do you think we might be able to sign him if we go up here with Bellis?
I mean, this is based on the pre-notion that if we get promoted, that it could be seen as, the next step for him, that it could be on loan in a top championship club and then on loan at a lower Premier League club. We'd be at the bottom end of the table. That'd be the next realistic and, logical step in his career. I even though we think he's on quality, City is just another level in terms of the elite of the elite. And I don't know if he's an elite centre back like City. I can't really see him playing for City just because of how good City are. However, he does perfectly mold to that kind of system. And of course, the Evertons and basically every single team in the Premier League, it seems like, are keeping tabs on him. So the only thing I can see is that maybe a loan back to us, because it will kind of continue his progression. Maybe it was like if it comes to a fee, then we're probably going to be outbidded by another team. So I can see the loan again. There's a question of if you could pick one player that we have on loan right now to keep, who would it be? And realistically, I would say Howard Bellis, because I feel like the way that he plays and also his defensive action as well. I mean, Bayer's immense. I love Maatsen. I love how dynamic he is and how direct he is. Teller's just such. He gives off so much energy, and someone said in chat as well, because we're on about striker positions, and I actually think that, Halil Divizoglu is actually pretty decent from when I've seen him. I feel like he's kind of been hard done by in terms of I want to see more of him as well. And, I don't know if Brentford may want him back because he's not played too much. Have to see what happens with that. But yeah, Bellis is different gravy, and especially with his age. Jesus Christ, man. He's good.
Yeah, well, easily is England under 21 captain, isn't he? So he's obviously very highly thought of the England setup. So he's probably going to be playing for England sooner rather than later, like the senior team. That's a really interesting question, that actually. And so Sam, I'll put it to you. Of all the loan players that we currently have, who would be the one that you'd want to sign? For me, I'd probably just edge for Teller. But Edward Bellis is a very, very close second. But yeah, who would you go for, Sam?
I think it would be Howard Bellis. And I think the only reason I say that is because you have to look at some of the great England players that have come since. Like you say, he's the England under 21 captain. He's from Man City, so he's been training up through this amazing academy setup for years. He is the player that has that career path that you see gradually going up and up and up till he's at the very top. And I see his ceiling, because we've seen Teller in the Premier League. And it's no disrespect to him. He is a very, very good player, and I'm so glad we've got him. But he has played at that level, and his best season was the season that we're in lockdown, when there was no cameras, no fans, and I remember him at the Emirates, and he absolutely tore Arsenal apart. But then his consistency in the Premier League wasn't the same. And who knows, this loan, could be exactly the thing that he needs, and he could progress on and shut me up, and then it could be Teller very easily. But I just feel like when I said that I don't think we'll be able to acquire Howard Bellis, it's because, like I said, I don't think he is the player of all of them that we have the biggest chance of getting back. Because Maatsen, obviously, you've got to look at Chelsea's left back situation. They've bought 1 billion left backs. They've got thousands of them in the youth system. He is a very, very good player, but he's probably he's probably the player that would be able to get probably the most, other than Bayer. Obviously, we've got the release clause in there. Yeah, so obviously we can do that. Teller, I reckon if we were to get to the Premier League, you could put 15, 16 million pound in there, and they'd say, we'd probably barter a little bit, and then they'd probably say 20, and we'd probably pay it, and we've got Nathan Teller. I think if you're Howard Bellis, you've been at Anderlecht, you've been at Stoke, you've been so good in the Champions. You're 21 years old, or however old he is, and you've already played 100 games in the Championship. You've played overseas in Belgium. Now your next step in your career is to go and play Premier League football. And I agree with Liam. I think if we were to get him, it would be a loan. I think any type of fee that goes in for him would be priced out easily. I think you're talking for the caliber of player that he is, you're talking 30 plus already.
Yeah.
Still.
If Ake was like 35, I think, so they bought him for, then he'd be around and kind of, because, he's got Order City DNA and everything, England 21 international, and especially if we win the league, he'd be in the 30s if we were to buy him on a fee, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. You got to look at that, as Sam said, like the ceiling that he has. Does it? He can go a lot further than probably Teller. So I probably do agree with that in that sense. But yeah, he could be sensational. And then, like you say, you make the point of Ake as well. If he signed for like 30, 35 million, that were like what 3-4 years ago. The signings and inflation has gone up even more. But we're just about to hit the hour mark, so I'll start wrapping it up there. But before I do wrap it up, I just quickly want to bring in something that everybody's going to like the look of. There it is. That's the league table right now. Obviously, we're going into the World Cup with a 3-point clear gap at the top of the Championship. The most joint with Sheffield United informed team in the league now after yesterday's win. It was, mind you, Coventry will be up there as well, won't they? Yeah, they've won 4 in a row, so they'll probably just be pipping us both, to be fair. So it was Blackburn and Coventry, the top 2 informed teams in the league yesterday. Of course, Blackburn have lost now. That's 2 defeats in their last 5, whereas we've only lost 1. Same for Coventry, but Coventry have won 4 in a row now. But I know I mentioned it earlier, lads, but that looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Liam, I'll start with you, but like the World Cup break, obviously we've got QPR after the World Cup break. Another tough game because they're, mind you, the 7th now. Jesus Christ, their form is dreadful. I didn't realize.
Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row, then drawn, then lost. Easy win. But no, obviously a big game after the break. Like, are you a little bit worried that the break could sort of hinder progress? I mean, I am and I'm not. I think it's going to help us get the likes of Twine back, Derby, Soglu, and Westy, so we could be even better after the break. But how do you think this goes after the break? Do you think we pick up where we left off, or do you think we might start the season, the season again, a little bit slowly, like we started the season slowly?
I think we'd be completely fine because of one reason and one reason only: Vincent Kompany. He's been there and done that at the highest level. He's won Premier Leagues. He knows the mental battle that you have to go through. Maybe not in this exact circumstance because of a World Cup break half through a year. It's not really normal. Even though I think he experienced that when he was over in Germany, I believe, because they have like winter breaks over there. But that was a long time ago. He's been there. He's done that. He's won titles. He knows what you got to do mentally to prepare for a game, for a season. And I mean, that's why I'm so happy of yesterday's performance, because we lost 5-2 away at Sheffield United.
Yeah.
People maybe thought, okay, these guys can be got at. Just get at them. Be physical. You can get at these lads. They're weak sometimes. And everyone thought that there's chips in our armor already showing. And that performance yesterday shows that we can bounce back from a pretty poor defeat. And maybe some people can start asking questions. And we batter our fierce rivals 3-0 and give them one shot. So for that reason alone, with Vincent Kompany, I think go to QPR. I think we'll beat them, mainly because they're in awful form. We're in great form. Twine will be on the bench. He'll get subbed on and he'll score a free kick. and then
Fingers
we're winning the
crossed.
goddamn league, boys.
That'll be absolute scenes if he comes on and scores, especially if it's 0-0 and he comes on and scores a free kick. That would be absolute scenes, wouldn't it?
Nah, but that'd be 3-0. It'd make it 4.
Yeah, probably right, to be fair. But Sam, are you a little bit worried at the World Cup break? Maybe it'll hinder our progress a little bit, or are you like Liam and Tony and fly over Fred in the comments? Do you think that we'll be okay and we'll come out of the blocks flying?
I think we'll be fine because we've got the squad depth that teams don't have. I think the thing that we have realised is, you look at our draws, our 8 draws, 4 of them have been bollocks from just us being idiots in games. And exactly.
West Brom, the whole was a disgrace.
There's so many draws that you could look at in our entire season and say they very easily could have been wins. Like Blackpool, for example, 3-1 up and we've managed to turn it 3-3. But you know what I mean? Like what I'm trying to get at is like right now we genuinely could be 10 points clear at the top of the table, right? Like I know obviously it's all circumstance and
we're not arrogant at all, are we?
But like we've not had it, like we've not flown through the league, but performance wise we are beating everybody. The one loss that we've properly had where I've been like, that's disappointing. Sheffield United, they're the second best team in the league. If you can drop points to the second best team in the league, you can sit there and say fair enough, because it is going to be us and them fighting it out for the remainder of the season. The Watford game was annoying because we conceded at the end of a half and then dominated them all the way through the second half and just couldn't manage to get a goal. I remember Brownhill hitting post and we came close a couple of times in that game, so that could have been another draw. But especially like you say, lads, I mean, I've said it so many times, I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. Scott Twine is the signing of our whole entire transfer window. I've had all my eggs in the Scott Twine basket. Yeah, I had all my eggs in the Scott Twine basket, and I said, if you're a club with any ambition, you go and get Scott Twine. You bring him in. He's a world beater. He's a player that can pluck you out of a game that's 0-0, 1-1, and score from nothing. He is going to be such an exciting inclusion into what already is an unbelievable squad with Benson and Teller and Zaruri and Rodriguez firing, which is lovely to see, and the best midfield in the league, the tightest defence, 40 goals. The mighty Clarets are winning the league, boys, and that is just it. I
will say this. We take our second team, let's say, for example. So Peacock, Farrell, right back could be Vitinho, Roberts, take your pick. Let's say Roberts, right? You got Taylor, McNally, centre backs, left back being, I guess that could be CJ Egan Riley. Midfield, you got Westwood, Bastion, and then 10 could be Twine. Wingers could be Benson and Gudmundsson or Cherlinov, or I mean, there's another wing I'm not even thinking of as well. It's actually insane, but one of those two, and the striker could be Halil or Ashley Barnes. That team could get top 6. To the chart, take our second best team. Where do you think it could be in the league? Because I'm saying that would easily be top 6. And that's why I'm so arrogant or confident thinking that we will be easily top 2. And it's between us and Sheffield to go win the league. So that's all I'll say with that.
Yeah, fair enough. Some good points. Like, I do agree with that. I do think our second string is good enough to at least fight for top 6, potentially even get top 6 after looking at some of the teams that are in the top 6. Blackburn, for example, because they were so poor. Flyover said, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Flyover Fred, they were dreadful at the turf as well. Flyover Fred says our bench will be the difference. 25 minutes to go, we'll be able to bring on a Twine, Cherlinov, Benson, Ozorore, and we'll destroy most teams. But yeah, it's been a great chat, lads. I've enjoyed it. Always good to get you two on. Thanks for coming on, Liam. I appreciate it. I know you're a very busy man, and then flying here there.
Oh no, I'm flying in the morning. I'm having a good night tonight.
Fair enough. But you say you've done a vlog of the Blackburn game?
Yeah, I made it public like an hour ago because yesterday I just enjoyed the game, so I waited till I got home and then I got it up. I'm hoping I'll be at QPR. I'm hoping we're going to plan it that England will be in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, so I'll fly down London and then watch game with a mate of mine for the World Cup. When we beat France in quarterfinals, go to Loftus Road, watch us beat them 4-0, then come up north, watch us win the World Cup final, and then go to United away, and then beat them 2-0 as well. And then maybe Christmas, lads.
And then it's Christmas. Yeah, and then it's Christmas. Phil Wilcock does say, will I see any of you boys at QPR? Obviously, Liam's just mentioned that he'll be there. I'm planning on going down with Johnny Tate, who you'll see on the podcast at some points. Sam, are you going to make QPR? I know you're quite busy with work around Christmas, aren't you?
I'll see you there, lads. I'll see you
there.
there.
Are you coming down?
We'll set a WhatsApp group up. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
£36 for a ticket. Oi, boys.
I cannot wait.
Joking it, but when you're playing so well, it's so easy to spend so much money so quickly in this league. But yeah, obviously you can watch. Everyone knows where Liam's YouTube page is. Just search Visa at YouTube. Yeah, YouTube page. Just search Visa. You'll find it there. Just give his vlog a watch. I'll probably be doing that after I've sorted this out and put the little boy to bed. To be honest, I need to put the little boy to bed. And of course, Sam, you've got a Twitter page, as well, haven't you? A Burnley page. You want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, it's the Clarets Roundup page on Twitter.
That account. Oh.
I'm that account. Yeah, honestly, every single time we do something, I'll talk about it. And this weekend, all you'll see is me putting Nathan Teller photos on and try to tweet.
I've pretty much done the same on Turfcast, mate.
try to tweet.
To be fair.
But yeah, be good to come over and chat. So enjoy that, boys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll see you both at QPR. Finally, Liam, you just mentioned the World Cup then. You sound like you're quite excited for it. I wasn't really looking forward to it, but only because I was worried about yesterday and I've not really thought about it too. But now yesterday's out the way and we've established that Lancashire is claret and blue, I'm actually really looking forward to it. I know it's a bit daft it being in the middle of the season, but a World Cup's a World Cup at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm looking forward to it, me now.
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right like it's a World Cup next week. Like it's a World Cup in 6 days. We play in 7 days' time. This time next week, we're going to be, I don't know, pouring gravy over, having a Sunday roast and having hot chocolates and, wearing scarves outside. Like, I don't even know, bro. It's going to be a weird time of the year. I don't know about the World Cup of England, how good we're going to do. I think I predicted Iran to be top of our group and us scraping second, honestly. But whatever happens, Burnley's winning the league. That's what really matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. Sam, you're looking forward to the World Cup?
22 days booked off, bro. I'm there.
Have you actually?
I'm there for it, mate.
You're there?
No, I'm not going to Qatar, but I am. I'm not paying 200 quid to sit in a Portaloo all the time. But no,
I was going to say, go to Qatar.
No, could you imagine that? Honestly, I'd be brushing shoulders with the.
You'd be in the sea. That's what you'd be.
Yeah, exactly. I'd get halfway there and then run out of money and have to come back. But no, literally, I don't agree with the World Cup being in Qatar anyway. I don't agree with the World Cup being in winter, but like you say, a World Cup's a World Cup. I'm gonna cheer England on till the quarterfinal when we get knocked out, and then relax for the rest of it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think quarterfinals probably a realistic stage, but I'm looking forward to the World Cup nonetheless. I'll be doing quite a bit of work on it as well for a couple of radio stations and a couple of Twitter pages, so I'm looking forward to it. But as I said, lads, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Always good to get you two on because I know, Liam, you're a very busy man, and Sam, you've been quite hard to pin down loads of times. But it's been a pleasure, lads. Thank you for coming on. And if you've come in to watch it late, of course, you can watch it afterwards. Once the live is finished, you can start it from the beginning and watch it at your leisure. And of course, the podcast will be out within the next hour, 2 hours. But when you're driving to work tomorrow, it will be there. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for commenting. Thank you to the lads again for coming on. And we will see you next time.